the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Another celebrity testified today in the federal sex trafficking.
Why did Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, infamous for his razor-sharp social media shots at Diddy, appear so composed in a courtroom now linked to Sean Combs? What pushed him to pause the online drama and step into a legal arena where every word held undeniable weight? And what was in that mysterious black suitcase he carried, the one that made every head in the room turn? Today we're here to reveal the truth. When 50 Cent placed that suitcase on the table, the room dropped into dead silence. He didn't say much, his usual fire replaced by a steady calm, like he was ready to end a long chapter once and for all. Eyes shifted, jurors, journalists, some curious, some clearly on edge. But everyone knew the suitcase wasn't just some prop. It held something powerful. As the trial wrapped, cameras flashed and quiet whispers swirled. Then a blink and you'll miss it moment. A discreet woman gently touched his arm. There. Handshake was short but heavy with meaning. She slipped away into the shadows, leaving behind a burning question. Who was she? And what was her connection to this moment? Unanswered mysteries hung in the air, waiting to be exposed.
Session began while a small group of onlookers observed from a distance. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere remained solemn and focused. The defendant, Mr. Combs, sat quietly, flanked by his defense attorneys facing federal prosecutors. Today's session centered on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. Prosecutors presented a series of new evidence, including documents, audio recordings, and testimony from related witnesses, emphasizing that these are part of a years-long investigation. The 12-member jury sat in a row, most displaying tense expressions as they listened attentively and took notes. As of now, the trial is ongoing. The presiding judge maintained strict order in the courtroom, ensuring all parties adhered to the proceedings schedule.
The courtroom doors creaked open, sharp, loud, and intentional. All eyes turned. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson walked in, calm yet carrying the weight of something major. No longer just the ruthless voice of Instagram or the savage whip from Drink. Champs! Today, 50 stood like a warrior stepping onto his final battlefield. A perfectly tailored charcoal suit hugged his build, a jet black tie, and in his grip a sleek suitcase. Heavy, almost like it was packed with secrets collected over 10 years. Each step on the wooden floor echoed louder than the last. Everyone felt it. Something pivotal was about to drop. That civil case didn't feel civil anymore. It now looked criminal. To really understand this moment, we need to rewind. Early 2000s, hip-hop was a war zone for dominance and power. Sean Diddy Combs, mogul of Bad Boy Records, stood tall, crafting chart-topping anthems and defining the culture with opulence. Meanwhile, 50 Cent, the survivor of 9 bullets, was the hardened street general, dead set on taking the crown. Their beef? It started small, but it brewed. 50 once claimed he ghost wrote G-Dep's Let's Get It without ever being credited. That accusation lit the match. Diss tracks flew. Public jabs turned personal. And then, the bombshell, 50 hinted Diddy might know who was behind Notorious B.I.G.'s 1997 murder. From there, it wasn't just a feud, it was all-out war. By 2014, things got even messier. 50's effing vodka went head-to-head with Diddy's Ciroc. But all that public drama, it was just the tip. With his street instincts, 50 seemed to smell something off in Diddy's empire. What once looked like trolling or jealousy now through the lens of his trial feels like something much more serious.
What's happening with Puffy? I know you're not really tapped in, but what is
the last thing I saw was like a guy there. He was like, yo, he like pushed me into the truck. It really hurt. And he sounded me. Like he sounded me. I was like, yo, look.
50 Cent's entrance.
50 Cent's entrance sent a shockwave through the courtroom. Diddy's legal team, led by attorney Mark Nefilo, instantly rose to their feet. Nefilo's voice sliced through the air. Your Honor, this is a calculated disruption. Mr. Jackson has zero legal grounds to be involved. We demand his immediate removal. Nefilo, eyes blazing, his fist clenched, pointed at 50 like he was the storm threatening to upend everything. But 50 didn't flinch. He stared straight ahead at the judge, a seasoned man with silver-framed glasses and a face that gave away. Nothing, Mr. Jackson, the judge began, voice steady and low, yet filled with authority. "50 Cent held up the phone and addressed the judge. This belonged to a former assistant of Mr. Combs," he said, voice steady. "The recovered data, encrypted messages, videos from private parties has been independently verified. It supports Cassie Ventura's allegations." Agnafilo leapt up. "Objection, Your Honor. This phone isn't authenticated. There's no verified chain of custody. It could have been tampered with." But 50 didn't flinch. He continued, his tone unwavering. "I hired third-party digital forensic experts. Their full report is inside the dossier. Every file was validated." At that, an image appeared on a courtroom monitor. The footage was blurry, unsteady, but impossible to ignore. Diddy sat in a dimly lit room surrounded by young people, some appearing underage. Several faces aligned with names listed in Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Then audio played, muffled background music, and a man's slurred voice. Delete it all. Leave nothing. "You got that?" Gasps rippled. A juror covered her mouth, visibly shaken. Diddy lowered his head, clenching his glass until it creaked under pressure. Agnafilo shot up again. "This is slander. That voice could be anyone." But the lead prosecutor, a woman with tightly coiled hair, responded sharply. "We'll request forensic voice analysis. If it matches, this becomes critical evidence." Then 50 Cent opened the leather notebook. Its handwritten contents were chaotic, almost cryptic. "Each symbol," he said, "marks a party. Every name, someone who attended. Some are now missing. Others have filed lawsuits." He turned to a torn page marked with 3 interlocking circles, a symbol reportedly linked to secret recruitment networks. Donaldson cut in. This proves nothing. These are just random scribbles." But 50 responded coldly. "That torn page, I received it anonymously right after dropping the Diddy Do It trailer. It lists exact locations and dates that align with Cassie's sworn testimony, including those so-called freak-off parties." A middle-aged juror frowned, staring at Diddy with growing doubt. Cassie had earlier testified about day-song parties, events where she claimed she was coerced into sexual acts through threats and manipulation. The notebook symbols were later matched to real-world places, including the Intercontinental Hotel, where security footage from 2016 captured an alleged assault. Finally, 50 Cent reached for the dossier. The chilling words struck a chord with one of the female jurors. Her head dropped, shoulders trembling. The testimony echoed Cassie's allegations with eerie precision. Red lights, that feeling of being trapped, and a silence filled with pain. Agnafilo rose quickly. "These notes are anonymous, unverified, pure fiction," he argued. But 50 Cent didn't flinch. "They didn't sign their names because they're scared of retaliation," he said sharply. "But I've got corroborating statements, like Daniel Phillip, who witnessed what went down at those parties." As 50 read aloud more names from the worn notebook, the courtroom thickened with unspoken tension. Every name held a memory, a wound, a secret. "First, Usher Raymond Ford," he said, his voice carrying a note of regret. "He was a good kid until he joined Puff's music camp." Agnafilo snapped back. "This is defamation. There's no proof linking Usher to anything improper." But 50 Cent stood firm. "I have a statement from a former Bad Boy employee saying Usher got pulled into disturbing events. It matches Cassie's claims about Diddy exploiting young artists." A juror scribbled something down, eyes darting between 50 Cent and Diddy. The message was getting clear. Music wasn't the only thing being orchestrated. Next, Fabulous. A clip played from Drink Champs. Diddy asked why Fab skipped one of his infamous parties. Fab laughed, but there was something off in his eyes. That night, backstage, 50 said, "Babies told me I just wanted to go home. But Puff wouldn't let me." The prosecutor chimed in. "We've got a bodyguard statement detailing similar patterns of behavior. It aligns with Cassie's timeline. Reporters whispered, "They're building a terrifying picture." Then Justin Bieber, a 2009 video played. Diddy, hugging the young star, said, "You're mine for the next 48 hours. That clip alone is disturbing, 50 Cent said. But it goes deeper. A former assistant confirmed Justin, then just 15, was kept in an environment completely unfit for someone his age. Diddy erupted, slamming the table. "This is slander. That's old footage being twisted." Didn't blink. "I've got testimony." Justin was sleep deprived, exposed to inappropriate scenes and used as a pawn. "This isn't about fame. This is about manipulation." The judge, stern, stepped in. "Mr. Combs, sit down and remain composed." Another juror stared Diddy down, doubt now in his eyes. "I won't show certain footage," 50 said quietly. "Out of respect. I truly believe Justin was a victim." Then came Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard. He was sent to buy adult toys, stood guard outside while Diddy and Ja Rule were behind closed doors. "The short told me you don't want to come in. Tonight's different." Agnafilo objected. "That's hearsay." "No proof," responded. Gene is ready to testify, and what he's seen aligns with Cassie's claims of those freak-off parties. One juror slowly shook their head, disbelief washing over them. YK Osiris came next. "He had talent. Then he disappeared," 50 said. "Not because of music, because of Puff." A video showed Osiris crying on Instagram Live. "No one knows what I'm going through," Donaldson interjected. "Speculation, not evidence." But 50 pushed forward. "Cassie said young artists got sucked into Diddy's orbit. YK is one of them." He stood tall, facing the judge. "Puff doesn't trap you right away. He makes you feel like you owe him. A trip, a feature, a deal. And when you push back, he uses guilt. Or worse." His words mirrored Cassie's exact testimony. That Diddy used her career and then her body as leverage. That he filmed her, threatened her, abused her. Agnafilo's voice rose again. "This is revenge. Mr. Jackson has been at odds with my client for years." But the prosecutor calmly countered. "His evidence backs what Cassie, Daniel Phillip, and Israel Flores have all testified. This isn't revenge. This is a pattern." Diddy sat motionless, his face hollow, as if the mask had finally cracked the moment 50 Cent stepped into that courtroom. It wasn't just a stunt. It was a collision between power and truth. The dossiers, the footage, the testimonies, they didn't just support Cassie. They exposed something bigger, and just before leaving, 50 Cent paused. Not as a rapper, but as a man who had delivered something many thought impossible. As the Manhattan trial neared its dramatic conclusion, the judge's gavel cracked through the tension, slicing the silence like a blade. Every eye locked on Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, the man who had just detonated the courtroom with shocking revelations about Sean Diddy Combs. In his possession, a phone filled with encrypted texts, a symbol-marked notebook alluding to freak-off gatherings, and a damning dossier of survivor testimonies. As 50 Cent left the courtroom, a woman in a black coat brushed past, briefly touching his hand, a quiet gesture heavy with meaning. She disappeared into the crowd just as a reporter gasped, recognizing her. Sarah Chapman, mother of Diddy's daughter, Chance Combs. Social media ignited. The hashtag told Diddy did it began to trend as speculation swirled. Could Sarah be the source behind 50's explosive evidence? Sarah Chapman had always stayed far from the spotlight surrounding Diddy's legacy. A quiet single mother, her world revolved around Chance, a child growing up beneath her father's overwhelming shadow. Though she smiled often, Chance's eyes told another story, one of confusion, fear, and a broken childhood shaped by fame and dysfunction. Sarah watched it all, the emotional distance, the trauma Chance never had words for. She felt it when her daughter cried silently at night, when she mentioned Kim Porter's teary eyes after arguments, or the day Cassie walked out with a broken stare. "Mom, I'm scared," Chance had once whispered, her voice barely audible. The pain was real, and Sarah could no longer remain a silent observer. Determined to protect her daughter, Sarah began a dangerous mission. She contacted ex-bodyguards, disgruntled former staff, and insiders from Diddy's inner circle. She spent tens of thousands of dollars gathering confidential footage, documents, and testimony, trading her savings for the truth. A former security member gave her a phone packed with hidden recordings from Diddy's infamous parties. A previous Bad Boy exec passed her a leather journal filled with coded notes that eerily matched Cassie Ventura's claims. But the most chilling evidence came from Chance herself. Encouraged by her mother, the girl recalled a night when she saw Diddy sneak into a locked storage room. When he left town, she found the courage to take his office key. What she discovered, documents, hard drives, another notebook, became the final piece Sarah needed. It was as if Chance handed her a piece of her own pain. With everything in hand, Sarah sought out the only public figure bold enough to take this on. 50 Cent. In a quiet, dim-lit cafe, she gave him everything. The phone, the files, the notebook. It was in a letter from Chance. That brief, wordless handshake they later shared in the courtroom became the symbol of a hidden alliance. A mother and a man united in a mission far bigger than revenge. Sarah never wanted fame. She wanted her daughter safe. She wanted peace. For Kim, justice for Cassie, and healing for Chance. Her war wasn't against Diddy alone. It was against the silence that allowed it all. She knew the cost. Public attacks, threats, but none of it could outweigh her daughter's broken voice. As her story made waves online, some began calling Sarah the flame in the shadows, the quiet mother who dared to challenge a kingmaker. Her partnership with 50 Cent wasn't just about a trial. It became a symbol of resilience, of a mother's refusal to let her child suffer in silence. Each clip, each file, each name they exposed chipped away at Diddy's untouchable image. 50 Cent, once known for his unrelenting bravado, now stood as a reluctant avenger. No theatrics, no chest pounding, just calculated, relentless pressure. It wasn't about spotlight anymore. It was about legacy, not his own, but the ones damaged by the industry's darkest corners. And just when it felt like the dust was settling, whispers from a fresh leak surfaced, pointing toward a new name, one no one expected.